This car can fly for 25 minutes with a maximum speed of around 80 miles per hour.
Flying cars were once just a dream in sci-fi movies, but now China has made them a reality. This isn't a prototype or a far-off concept. It's a real, working machine, and the world is watching.
China wants to develop what it calls low-altitude economy, making money from small aircraft and delivery drones.
But with its cutting-edge specs and surprising affordability, will it actually take off? Can cities handle skies buzzing with cars? Or will this groundbreaking invention face unexpected hurdles? We will break down its features, cost, and whether the world is truly prepared for the biggest travel revolution in history.
Did you ever dream of flying in an unmanned drone? Here it is, in the skies above Guangzhou, opening up a new frontier for travel.
Xpeng's flying revolution. Crowded cities, packed roads, smoggy air. That's just a normal weekday. But what if escaping all of that was as easy as pushing a button and flying up into clean air? In the middle of all this chaos, a company from China is trying something bold. They are not just talking about flying cars like it's some sci-fi dream. They are building them. And one of their biggest breakthroughs is the Xpang X2. It looks like something from a future we thought would take another 50 years to get to, but it's already here. The Xpang X2 is what is known as an eVTOL, which means it's an electric aircraft that can take off and land vertically. You don't need an airport. You don't even need a road. It goes straight up, then flies. It's made by Xpeng Aero HT, which is the flying tech branch of the Chinese electric car company Xpeng. This group is based in Guangzhou, in the Guangdong province of China. Xpeng Aero HT came into the spotlight in 2020, backed by Xpeng Motors. Their mission is to make electric flying vehicles for something called Advanced Air Mobility, or AAM.
It's very good that Xpeng also has chosen to go for zero-emission mobility. So we need to rethink all ways from transport. And this is definitely one of the options that we can see.
In simple terms, they want to change how people move in cities. In July 2021, they showed off the fifth-generation flying car. It happened at a public event in Shanghai. And let's just say, a lot of heads turned. Some had never seen anything like it before. Sleek, quiet, clean. It didn't roll up with an engine rumble. It floated into the spotlight. Now let's break it down. The Xpeng X2 looks more like a giant drone than what you would call a car. It holds two people and still has enough space for a couple of bags. It was first launched under the name Voyager 2. Its design is smooth and shaped like a teardrop, which helps it cut through the air better. It's not just about looking cool. That shape actually improves flight efficiency and reduces drag, which saves energy. The full size of the X2 is pretty surprising. It is 16.97 feet long, 16.81 feet wide, and 4.47 feet high. That's similar to a mid-sized car you would see parked on the street, but it weighs about 680 kilograms. The maximum load it can carry is 160 kilograms. That includes the weight of the passengers and anything they bring on board. What really helps the X2 stay light is the way it's made. The inside frame is built from aeronautical aluminum, the same material used in airplanes. Outside, it's wrapped in carbon fiber, a material that's both strong and lightweight. On top of the body are 8 rotors, each with its own motor. This setup helps keep things balanced and also adds extra safety. If one rotor fails, the others can keep the vehicle flying. The aircraft connects to networks using both 4G and 5G technology. That means real-time updates and smooth communication while in the air. When it comes to performance, the Xpeng X2 has a flight range of up to 75 kilometers, or about 30 minutes of airtime. It can fly at a top speed of 130 kilometers per hour, and because it's built to be about the same size as an average car, it can actually fit inside a garage or a regular parking spot. That's right, no special hangars or rooftop pads needed. Even while it's on the ground, it's made to be easy to move. The aircraft can be placed onto 4 small dollies that roll under the landing gear, letting 1 or 2 people push it around without much trouble. It's surprisingly manageable for something that can fly. Now let's talk about safety. This isn't just a cool flying machine with fancy lights. The X2 is packed with serious features. It uses distributed electric propulsion, which means each rotor works separately. If something goes wrong with one, the others can step in. It has several backup systems in case of any failure. The aircraft is built with sensors that scan the environment in all directions. It can even return and land on its own if needed. There's real-time video streaming, ground-based monitoring, a 360-degree camera setup, and an emergency parachute that can pop out if things take a turn. And here's something else. There is no gas, no fumes, no emissions while flying. That makes it different from most cars and even regular aircraft. It glides quietly through the sky, leaving nothing behind in the air. In cities already struggling with smog and pollution, that matters. If you are into tech like this, go ahead and hit that like button so we can keep showing you more wild breakthroughs. The way cities are going, with all the traffic and noise, this could be one way out. A cleaner, quieter way to move above it all. It's still early days for flying vehicles. But what Xpeng has done shows that this isn't just a fantasy anymore. They are building for a future that feels more and more like right now. Inside the Xpang X2. Most people think the future will arrive quietly, but some inventions show up with spinning blades, glowing lights, and the promise to change the shape of cities forever. Now let's go a little deeper into what the Xpang X2 can actually do. It is not only made to be a personal flying vehicle, its main role is expected to be that of an air taxi. That means helping people move through crowded cities, but through the sky. Now here is where it gets even more interesting. The Xpang X2 can be flown in two different ways. You can control it yourself, or you can let it fly on its own. The manual mode is for trained pilots who want full control, but the autonomous mode is meant to make the ride as easy and stress-free as possible. In the autonomous version, especially for use as an air taxi, you do not have to do much. You press a button, set your destination, and let the systems handle everything else. That means the takeoff, the route, and the landing are all handled by the onboard computer. You do not even have to touch anything if you do not want to. The intelligent flight system inside the X2 is made to figure out the best way to get from one point to another. It plans the safest and most efficient path through the air. It also has to follow local flying laws that can change from country to country, and the software is built to understand that. So if you are flying over a city in China or over a city somewhere else, it will know how to follow the rules in each place. Inside the cockpit, the goal is to give passengers a high-quality experience. You are not just sitting in a box with buttons. The cockpit is wide and gives one of the clearest views you can get in this type of vehicle. That means passengers can actually enjoy looking outside while flying. It is not like looking through a small car window. You get a large open view of the world below and ahead. The controls and instruments are also designed to look modern but easy to understand. The layout is simple and everything is placed where it is easy to reach. It even looks a bit like the inside of a small spaceship. There is also a large floating screen that gives it a high-tech look. But this screen is not just for looks. It is part of the system that helps guide passengers through the flight. It shows maps, flight paths, altitude, and other important details. But the X2 isn't only for picking up passengers. It could be used for other important tasks too. Low-altitude city flights could help with sightseeing trips, giving tourists a view that walking can't offer. It might also be useful for medical transport, like flying across traffic when time really matters. In cities that never slow down, having something that flies above the mess might be more than a luxury. It might be part of the future. The flight that hinted at the next 50 years. Not every test flight grabs international attention, but when a sleek electric flying car lifts into the sky against the skyline of Dubai, people tend to notice. In 2022, Xpeng made a bold move. It carried out the first public test flight of its X2 flying car in Dubai. This was not a private test at a hidden location. It was done out in the open, right by Skydive Dubai, a place not far from the well-known Palm Jumeirah. The Dubai Civil Aviation Authority gave a special permit to allow this flight. The test did not go unnoticed. About 150 invited guests came to watch. Among them were people from the Chinese consulate in Dubai, members of the Dubai International Chamber of Commerce, the Dubai World Trade Center, and other local authorities. There were also members of the press from all over the world. Each person was watching closely as the X2 lifted off. That day, the aircraft flew without any passengers inside. Even though no one sat inside the cabin, the flight still meant a lot. But before this flight happened, a lot of preparation was done behind the scenes. Xpeng worked through the necessary safety steps. The company carried out a detailed operations risk assessment. They did this in partnership with the Dubai Civil Aviation Authority. It was not a last-minute effort. A special team from Xpang X2 handled it. They gathered data from the research and development side of the project. Then, using international standards, they wrote up an operation manual and created a full concept for how the demonstration would take place. That included figuring out the possible risks and how to reduce them. They were not alone in doing all this. The Sanad Academy and the DCAA also played an important role. Together, they formed a risk mitigation plan. It was made to make sure that every part of the flight stayed safe. From takeoff to landing, the safety of everyone nearby was the highest priority. Once the plan was reviewed and accepted, the green light was given. The test flight was ready to happen. After the public event, Xpeng shared a bit more about what could come next. The version of the X2 used for the test was only a part of the bigger plan. The real goal is to have a version made for low-level flights across cities. That means people flying at heights around 300 feet during most trips. However, the X2 has the ability to go much higher. It can reach up to 3,200 feet if needed. Even though its flying time is under 35 minutes, that is enough for short trips inside a city. Now, the test in Dubai also showed more than just technology. It gave a look at how flying cars could become part of daily life. People often talk about what the future might look like, but here they actually saw something real. No science fiction, just an electric aircraft rising up and flying over a modern city. It also marked a new step for Xpeng X2. The public flight was not just about one country, it was about showing progress to the rest of the world. For the team behind the X2, it meant years of planning and testing finally reached a visible point. Some leaders in Dubai saw it the same way. Hassan Al-Hashemi, the acting director general of Dubai Chambers, shared his thoughts during the event. He said the X2 showed the kind of thinking that has helped shape Dubai for many years. The city has always aimed to stay ahead when it comes to future projects and creative designs. He said the flying car captured the spirit of ambition. In his words, it was a moment people would remember, one that could shape how the next 50 years look in cities like Dubai. He did not just see it as a cool invention. He saw it as something with the power to change how people live and move. Xpeng's test flight in Dubai was not the finish line. It was one major step in a longer journey. The idea of flying cars is no longer just in sketches or lab tests. It is in the air, over a real city, seen by real people. From prototype to licensed flight. In 2023, Xpeng's X2 made another move that got the world's attention. This time, it was not just a test, it was official. The X2 became the first manned electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle, or eVTOL, to be licensed for flight in China. That license came from the Civil Aviation Administration of China, based in the central and southern region. For the people following the X2 project, this moment felt like a big win. But it also meant something bigger. It connected to a much larger plan that has been building across China. One focused on the skies just below 1,000 meters. This plan is called the Low Altitude Economy. You may not have heard of it before, but it's growing fast. It includes everything from drones to aerial taxis. Any flying vehicle that operates under 1,000 meters is part of it. And as the rules become clearer and the tech becomes more stable, more businesses are entering the scene. The idea behind this economy is simple. The airspace close to the ground can do more than just hold up clouds. It can move people. It can carry goods. It can help farms work better. It can even support rescue teams in hard-to-reach areas. This low-altitude layer of sky is starting to fill up, and not just with hobby drones. In China, this space is being seen as a new kind of economic engine. Officials say it could reach a market value of 3.5 trillion yuan by 2035. That is a massive number, and it is not just words. There is real backing behind it. Policies are being made, investors are paying attention, engineers are building. The momentum is picking up. China's push into this field is not happening in isolation either. Around the world, the low-altitude economy is catching on, but in China, it is moving quickly. The last few years have seen a wave of new developments. Technology is improving, Cities are opening up air routes. The sky is slowly turning into a new kind of highway. Part of this growth is due to the progress in artificial intelligence. Intelligent systems now allow drones and electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles to fly more safely and more accurately. Human-computer interaction has improved. This means it's getting easier for people to control these vehicles or let them fly themselves. More industries are jumping in. You have power battery makers, motor designers, software developers, and agricultural tech companies. All of them are finding a place in this expanding airspace. Each one is adding a piece to the larger picture. So what do you think about this low-altitude economy? Do you see it as something helpful or maybe even a bit concerning? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to know what you think. Back to Xpeng Aero HT. With the X2 now officially licensed, the company has big plans. Next up is more testing. They want to run more manned flights to gather more data. The goal is to move closer to mass production. They are not rushing, but they are not standing still either. This certificate was not the final step. It was another push forward. Xpeng's land aircraft carrier. Xpeng isn't done with surprises. After launching a flying car, they came back with something even bigger and bolder in 2024. This time, they introduced a new concept. It is called the land aircraft carrier. And no, it is not a ship. It is a combination of a road vehicle and a flying machine, rolled into one ambitious creation. Let's break it down. The whole system comes in two parts. First, there is the road vehicle. Xpeng calls this part the aircraft carrier or mothership. It is big. It runs on 6 wheels, has 3 axles, and measures about 5.5 meters long, 2 meters wide, and 2 meters tall. That makes it longer than most vans and more muscular in design. You could say it sits somewhere between a sleek minivan and a bold armored truck like the Tesla Cybertruck. But it is not just about size. The design follows a minimal, clean look. The body is boxy, with smooth lines curving from the windshield up into the roof. It has flush door handles that blend into the side panels and a strong plastic trim at the bottom. One thing you will not see are side mirrors. That tells us this version is still under development. Now let's look under the hood. The carrier is powered by a system called EREV. That stands for Extended Range Electric Vehicle. It runs on an 800-volt high-voltage platform. But here's the thing. The engine inside does not move the wheels. Instead, it acts more like a generator. It sends electricity to the motors and to the battery pack. With this setup, Xpeng says it can go as far as 1,000 kilometers. Now let's talk about that flying part. This second piece of the land aircraft carrier is what grabs attention. It looks like a large drone, but it does more than hover. It can lift off, fly, and land, all with either manual control or full automation. And yes, it docks right on top of the carrier. The docking system is fully automatic. So is the separation. When it is time to fly, the aircraft lifts off smoothly after its 6 arms and propellers unfold from a compact shape. The way the air module folds is not just for looks. There is a reason behind that design. An Xpeng employee explained that they had to keep the aircraft compact when folded so it could fit into the vehicle without taking up all the space. And since the road vehicle still needs to drive normally, there were size limits they had to stick to. Fitting the aircraft inside the trunk of the carrier means it needs to fold its rotors inward. Right now, the unfolding process takes about 4 minutes, but the team is working to cut that time down to 3. Once the flying part is docked, it starts charging directly from the carrier. And because of the high voltage system, it can charge the flying part of the vehicle from 30 to 80% in only 18 minutes. This allows the air vehicle to perform around 5 to 6 short flights on a full charge. That kind of setup makes it flexible. You could take off from your driveway, fly over traffic, then dock again, all without waiting hours to recharge. As for how it flies, there are 2 options. It can be controlled manually using a joystick, or it can take off, fly, and land on its own without needing a pilot at all. This is convenient, especially for people who want a relaxing ride or who might not have flying experience. This project is not a simple science experiment. It is part of a long-term plan by Xpeng Aero to explore new ways to travel, combining air and land in one device. While it is not ready for the market just yet, the work being done now shows that they are serious about changing how we think about transport. It is no longer about choosing between cars or planes. They are building both into one unit. The land aircraft carrier opens up a new kind of travel experience. Not only can it move across roads with ease, but it can rise above them when needed. The flexibility of switching between driving and flying offers possibilities that traditional cars cannot match. So while the X2 grabbed headlines as a sleek flying taxi, the land aircraft carrier shows that Xpang is thinking beyond short flights. More than hype. So we have seen the design, we have seen how it moves, but what exactly is this machine supposed to do when it gets out in the real world? The land aircraft carrier is not some flashy stunt vehicle meant for short bursts of attention. It was designed to handle serious situations. We are talking about emergencies where time matters, medical rescues, accident zones on highways, places blocked by debris or floods, and even evacuations from high-rise buildings. Its job is to get to places where ordinary cars or trucks cannot go, and then lift off if needed. In the beginning, the land aircraft carrier will only be used in very controlled areas. That means limited flying zones and official use like public service tasks. It will not be zooming over neighborhoods just yet. Instead, it will help prove how useful flying cars can really be. If all goes well, it opens the door for larger scale operations. Xpeng X2 is not working alone or on a tight budget. They recently secured $150 million in a Series B funding round. That money is going straight into the next big steps, perfecting the vehicle, making more of them, and preparing to sell it on a commercial scale. While Xpeng's design is pretty bold, they are not the only ones thinking in this direction. Across the ocean in Orlando, Florida, a company called Lufcar is working on its own flying vehicle project. It has a different spin, but there is a shared idea. Lufcar is working on a hydrogen-powered air vehicle that also connects to a land vehicle. They even call their flying section a flying forklift because it can lift the land unit and carry it through the air. So in some ways, both companies are pushing similar boundaries by making vehicles that split between land and sky. Now back to the land aircraft carrier. Originally, Xpeng X2 had planned to start production in 2025. Customers in China were expecting to receive their vehicles that same year, but that timeline shifted. Production is now set for 2026. The company needed more time to finish a new manufacturing facility. They wanted to be sure everything was ready before sending the model out to buyers. And when it does hit the market, China will be first in line. The country is already moving faster with road and air regulations, which helps speed things up. Pricing details are still unclear, but several sources close to the company have said it should cost under $300,000. That may sound like a lot, but for a vehicle that can take off and land, it is surprisingly low, especially when you consider how new the technology is. Even without a final price, there is already strong interest. Xpeng X2 has received more than 3,010 orders. That means people have already signed up to be early buyers once the product becomes available. And this isn't just in China. The buzz is spreading in other countries as well. Now let's take a step back. What do all of these developments really mean? Flying vehicles are no longer just cool ideas from science fiction movies. They are becoming part of real conversations in tech and transportation circles. Sure, they are not common yet. Most people still drive regular cars. But change like this doesn't happen overnight. It takes years of testing, policy changes, infrastructure updates, and public trust. There are real challenges ahead. Things like air traffic safety, weather conditions, battery life, and training pilots or building autopilot systems. Governments will need to figure out air lanes and where these vehicles can or cannot fly. Cities might need new landing zones, and people will need time to get used to seeing them around. But still, the pace of progress is picking up, and more people are starting to ask what role flying vehicles could play in everyday life. There is no doubt it would change how our cities are shaped. Before you go, if you want to keep up with how this all plays out, now is the perfect time to join the ride. This is just one of many wild things we dig into. For more like it and some you won't expect, make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.